As an FYI, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 total bags that all the hardware goes in. Okay, we're looking at the top centerpiece of the dome. First things first, each of these extensions has a bolt right here. We need to remove each one of those. That's the first part. Then we take the pieces that latch onto that and mount them to it. As you can see, there's a number right here for each extension. There's a dashed line right above it. Right next to the number, there's a dashed line. That's where you line up the extension. So you just the corresponding number lined up with that line there. Pop it on, bolt it down. That's what we're about to do next. We're removing the pieces from bag 1. All these poles are the initial phase that correspond with the very top centerpiece of the dome. Here's Tony using an Allen wrench to bolt on initially the inside bolt to tighten that first, and we noticed that the threads are really tight and hard to tighten, so it's going to take some effort. I would suggest using an Allen wrench to start the thread at least, and then a drill. That way you don't rip the threads. The top of the dome structure put together, the threads are kind of tricky. That's the only issue that we're having. After the top of the dome structure, we continue on and start the base, and then we will apply the top of the dome to the base. There's Tony right there putting together the last part of the base. There's 13 pieces total, and they all start with an A number from A all the way up to A27. And like I said before, they're the pieces with the weld, only one-sided up weld joint on there. So the next part we go to is to attach the corresponding pieces to these joints. Okay, here we are again with Tony. We're starting the next section of the base. It's a single piece, no welds are on this joint, and they go from A6 to A28 are the corresponding numbers for each piece. And again, it's the bolts that are a little hard to thread. The base didn't have that particular thread. The base was a lot easier. Step 3 has been completed. That's the single pulls coming up from the base. Our next task, step 4, is to take these pieces. Looks like they just have one double welded joint in the middle. On step 4, as you can see, the double jointed weld goes into the piece right there that attached to the base. From here, you slide over, that piece will insert right there into the next piece, and so on and so on. That was step 4. Now we just have these pieces here, that one that you see on the floor there. That'll be step 5. Those are all just single pulls. There's 16 of those, and those will all attach up to the top of that. Step 5 was the single pulls right there that attach to the double joint centerpieces. So those just went all the way up there. And the last step would be to attach the top of the dome, which we did first, to the very top, which we'll have to use a ladder and put in each piece individually. And you can kind of wiggle around each piece. You can kind of bend it and stretch the frame a little bit to get each piece in there. And there's Alfredo there coming in as the 4th person. It's pretty
self-explanatory. Just as long as you have a couple people to put that top on there, I think everything should work out great.
Top of the dome. So we unzip it first. That way we fold over the top of the dome, and then we can wrap that around the base and then zip up around the base.
As you can see, we're starting there, putting the very center of the dome up through the center. That way we can get the centerpiece at the very top, and we're just folding that over just like so. And then from there we can take this part here and pull it all the way out to the side. And as you can see, Tony put the base on some blocks here to raise it slightly. That way we don't have any issue with the zipper going around the base. There's Tony there popping that side out of the side. Tony is keeping that center piece in the very center. There's a circular area where it's embroidered there, and Marcos is going around pulling down the sides as Tony keeps the centerpiece there. So here we are enclosing. Looks like the whole fabric is enclosing right now. You can see the lights through the fabric. I hope that doesn't mean that it's transparent, because I know we were trying to keep that opaque. So there's that. Now the next step is to find these zippers. Each of these zippers has an opening next to it that this pull goes through. So we have to maneuver the fabric so that one of the openings is right there at the hole, at the pull.
Yeah, let's show one right here. You want to come out?
I can kind of see it right there.
Can you see it? Okay.
You see there's...
I think it gets done from the inside anyway. Okay?
There's a piece of zipper there. There's some zipper there. And in between the two zippers is an opening. And that's where the pull has to go.
Yeah, let's show it. Just wrap around like this.
As you can see, Tony there is wrapping the zipper around the base. And each section does the same thing.
Yeah.
You can see there's a hole there where the latch has to be exposed. And that's the only other issue that we have to watch out when we apply the fabric to the top. Just make sure that the latch goes through the hole. As you can see, the fabric looks a little loose right now, but once the zippers are all taken care of, I think that it should tighten more. And here's just an FYI. Tony's removing the fabric, and it comes out just the same way it went in. He's just pulling on the center there as the sides go up towards the center of the dome. He just pulls that out, so it comes out fairly simple. I think the main thing with that white fabric is trying to keep it clean. Okay.